Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. People may wonder, why do I do videos like this and just chanting off the cuff and all this? It's actually, there's a Siddhanta behind it, actually. Lord Chaitanya showed the example, whenever devotees, be like two or more gathered in my name principle, but whenever a devotee, he was like worshiping Tulsi once, and a devotee walked into the room, all of a sudden he became more ecstatic. So we do that on Facebook. I just turn the video camera on, and as soon as the devotees walk into our little cyber temple, it becomes more ecstatic. I notice this time and time and again. So that's why I do these so much. People, say, oh, you should do this private worship and everything. What do they know? They don't know these principles. Lord Chaitanya knew, and he taught them. And so I pay it forward, and I teach my friends too. He showed me all this stuff right there in the scriptures. And we practically apply it in 2018. See? Two or more gathered, and so I just turned on the camera, and we got church going, man. We got, the Lord likes to mingle, and he comes close, and and it becomes more ecstatic. Remember that. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama. Yeah, it's conclusive. It's inconclusive to go sit on your own. I mean, sometimes you can do that, but this is good. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama. Okay, I got to get this straight again. You fall finders out there, I'm sorry, maybe you're not a fall finder, but this is the right hand, man. This is my right hand. right hand is the camera that reverses it. Hare Krishna. So look at the ecstatic chanting, not at the what hand I'm using. Hare Krishna. Hopefully it gets ecstatic. Let's see.
We're at the dentist. Let's see how ecstatic.
We're trying to be ecstatic at the dentist. We're trying to make this an ecstatic experience.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Trying to transcend this bodily platform. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. Something's been coming up. Somebody said to Sachi, which was a good conversation, I think we should have it. Somebody said they wanted to surrender their life to Gaurahari, and surrender their life to Guru. And I said, basically, that's very good. That's nice. And she said, isn't that a little dangerous to surrender to another human being? Shouldn't you surrender to God first? And so I just thought it'd be good to clarify this, what this idea of surrender means. Okay? So, because I thought about that myself. How does a person surrender to to Guru. So basically, when you say, I want to surrender your life to Guru, what you're doing is you want to see people's lives consist of their own personal pursuits, for their life. What to do for their living, families, and their goals, their personal goals, and all that. So when you come to a bona fide Guru, who's going to deliver you by their association, so you say, well, I want to surrender my life. Basically, that means I want to be engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, because they're the ones who do it. Engagement in the transcendental service of the Lord means to reach the platform of ecstatic worship of the Lord. See, so that's a transcendental, it's transcendental loving service of the Lord, ecstatic loving service. So by serving a guru, you may not feel that right away, but you want to be, you want this, and it's a matter of giving something of your energy towards that goal. It could be a lot, it could be a little bit. Could be, well, I want to support your mission, give a little money to support the mission. And then, because people, they have a life. Usually you might have a family and stuff like that. Your money or whatever it is, too, right? Should be a bona fide guru like that. Okay? So, what is the reward of surrendering your life? Is it jewels? Is it... Here we go. I had to switch to Vodafone. It's working now. Yeah, it's just I had to switch to SIM cards. So that's the idea. Is surrendering means giving something. It could be a little or a lot or whatever the person's capable of. If you give a lot and it's too much, you're doing it. It's not so good because that can burn you out. You gotta have a balanced approach. So it's like careful handling the fire. So surrendering to Guru means basically trying to engage more of your time and energy or money or everything in the interest of the Guru, which is, what is it? It's the interest of serving God. See, that's the whole point. Otherwise, we're involved in our own interests, so more or less. So we want to do that more of what leads to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, and that'll automatically reduce our interest in the world, because you notice how it seems more and more like unreal, the world, just by this engagement, this kind of engaged in serving the Lord more ecstatically, where they feel more happy and stuff. See, it's so our engagement in the world becomes less by the higher taste and by being engaged by the Guru appropriately according to one's situation in the interest of the Lord, which is what? To preach Bhakti, to wake people up, right? Isn't that? What else is this world for, really? What, just to have families and make babies and all that stuff? It's the same old, same old. We're here to end the thing, soul winning, get people engaged. So that's the meaning of surrender to Guru, is one surrenders appropriately what they can do according to their capacity and situation. See? And even a little bit, say, even if you gave some energy that goes to our transcendental benefit. See? So, but giving to the world, it just causes this samsara wheel to continue. But still, you got to do some of it. You can't just artificially, give everything. You have to be, you have to be, appropriate, according to the appropriate. So anyway, that's the idea of this. Okay, if there are any questions, let me know. Oh, let's see here. Is there no appointment? No, there's no appointment. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Let's see why they come here early. 1 and 2. The early bird catches the worm in every way. Even you want to catch Krishna, get up early. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. You want to get to the dentist first without waiting all day? Get to the dentist early. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. These people probably woke up late and they didn't even probably do any worship. Maybe they did, but a lot of people don't. They get up late and go to bed late and just everything is late. The whole life becomes late and hard. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. You know, in the world, there's a lot of videos, YouTube videos, about people that say, if you get up early in the morning, you'll become successful. But if you don't, you won't. See? So it's also in spiritual life. If you get up early as possible, you become successful in spiritual life. Of course, your situation. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Rama, Rama. The water.
Mostly all of it.
Take the top off.
If you drink mostly all of it, you do it.
Yes, oh, wow. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. See, without Krishna, without devotion, then, worship of God is like, hey, is there anything else to do? It's like you only do it if you're just afraid of going to hell or something. And most people don't in the world worship God, beyond ritual and, stuff like that, only because the Lord isn't attractive, right? The Maya is more attractive. It's easier. But could you imagine if you get this devotion, how easy it becomes, to worship the Lord? See, and that's what's needed. Is without devotion, people stop worshiping even God and Krishna. Isn't that why Lord Chaitanya came? He came because the pastimes of Krishna were becoming forgotten. People were just like, they lost their devotion. So Lord Chaitanya was really the incarnation of devotion to Krishna, and he brought that. And that's what revived worship of Krishna, because Krishna was here in his pastime, in name, their stories, but people thought, it's mythology, or it's more interesting and more attractive, the Maya, because it's so, so it takes a powerful devotee with powerful devotion to preach this kind of attraction. Otherwise the world becomes more interesting. And that's why the Vaishnavism will fail if it doesn't come to the point of Bhakti. People get tired of following the rules too hard. It has to come to this point where we're bringing it. Otherwise, it'll just disappear. People were doing Vaidhi Bhakti back then until Lord came and showed something more interesting. Otherwise, they were just doing it out of traditions. Is it possible that after the dentist you cannot? Pure devotional service, it has to be strong devotion, it has to be preached, it has to be shown, demonstrated, and put on the table. Otherwise, everybody's going for the other stuff on the table, right? What good is it to say, well, only Bhakti is supposed to be, only alone in your room and all that? Well, then it'll only be for you and nobody else. The thing about Prabhupada's books, he did all the... Yeah, Prabhupada did all that alone in his room, but he put the books out, and so when the books become explained by devotees with devotion, so that's when that's why it's being revived again now. And we even just having a few people is a miracle, and it's going to get more, because we're preaching what Prabhupada did in his room, the confidential purports that people don't know now, and we're preaching it with the voice, transcendental sound. Exciting times. No, the internet's okay. I just switched sometimes I have to switch. So just hang in there and I switch this sometimes. Back and forth. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Rama Rama
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama I think I'm going to go now just because maybe River, you may not like Hare Krishna.